All right, so have you ever felt like, your digital life is kind of scattered, like across a million different websites, a million logins? Drives me crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
This document, The Rise of Portable Identities, it dives into a potential solution for this. And trust me, it's way cooler than just like remembering another password.
It really does grab your attention, doesn't it? I mean, the reality is right now we're stuck in this loop of just giving the same info over and over to
Mhm.
every single online service,
Right.
which honestly, when you think about it, it's kind of asking for security risks, right?
Yeah.
Not to mention, it's just plain inefficient.
It is.
So this whole portable identity thing, that's what they're aiming to fix.
Yeah, it's like almost having this digital passport, right,
Yeah,
for everything online.
I like that.
And the document, it highlights all these potential benefits, like less paperwork, always a good thing, right?
Mm.
Stronger security, and even get this, some surprising environmental
Oh,
benefits.
interesting.
But, okay, what really blew my mind, the thing that really stood out to me, was this whole concept of identity recycling.
I saw that.
The idea that we could actually start getting value back from all that data we're constantly giving away. Like, how crazy is that?
It's a huge shift. It is crazy when you think about it because
Yeah.
every time a company, they need to verify your information, they're profiting,
Yeah.
right? They're making money off that data.
Right.
But in this model, in this new way of doing things, this document's suggesting that you could get a cut.
Wow.
Like imagine it's like a pay-per-use system, but for your identity.
It's kind of cool.
It's a wild idea.
And they don't even stop there. Like, they're just getting started with that. The document, it goes on to outline all these different models for how it could work.
Yeah.
Like tiered access based on how much you're comfortable sharing, or pricing based on like the accuracy of your data. And even they bring up NFTs, using NFTs to represent certain like unique attributes.
It gets pretty complex. It's fascinating, though, right? Because it really challenges how things work now, the whole power dynamic. Individuals, everyday users like us, we'd get more control, and maybe even some new economic opportunities would open up.
Right.
But to fully grasp it, we got to look at, like, what's wrong with the current system, you know?
Yeah, totally. The document, it does not hold back when it comes to that. They really lay out how our current like identity verification processes, they're, well, kind of a mess.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not just inconvenient for us, it's creating these massive security risks, and it's just making things super inefficient for businesses too.
Absolutely. And this whole thing with data duplication, right? It's insane. Like you sign up for a new bank account, you're filling out forms, new online service, more forms.
Oh, the worst.
Just asking for breaches. And then on top of that, you've got all this information, but it's all siloed.
Right.
Stuck on different platforms, can't talk to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Errors are going to happen. Things get wasted. It's messy.
So messy. Not to mention there's zero transparency. Exactly.
Most of us, we have no clue who even has access to our data, what they're doing with it. It's like this total black box.
It really is. That's why the document, it argues that this portable identity thing, especially when you bring in technologies like blockchains, zero-knowledge proofs, they offer a real solution, a viable one.
Okay.
It could actually make the system more secure, make it transparent finally, and way more efficient.
And they have the numbers to back it up, which is always impressive.
Oh, yeah.
They estimate, and get this, that companies, they could be saving massive amounts of money. We're talking potentially millions just by like streamlining onboarding processes using portable IDs.
It's a compelling argument. Less paperwork, fewer headaches, lower costs, and maybe even a way for us to like actually regain control over our own information, maybe
Yeah.
even make some money from it. It's kind of hard to believe almost, right?
It is. It sounds too good to be true.
Right.
But, and I appreciate this, the document, it acknowledges that they're not naive to the challenges.
Right. They say straight up that for this to actually work, we need everybody on board. Individuals, organizations, governments, everybody's got to buy in.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's the whole thing with the technical stuff and the regulations, those hurdles.
Well, that's always the case, right?
Right.
Any new tech.
Right.
But that's what I like about this document. They're not pretending this is some magic bullet. They're realistic.
Right.
They know it's going to be complex to implement. And they're pushing for this multifaceted approach, which makes sense.
Totally. Okay, so we've covered the what, right? We know what it is now. We've
Yeah.
got the why it even matters. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty. Let's dive into the how. Because the document, it throws around some pretty complex tech, blockchain, zero-knowledge proofs. We even saw NFTs in there.
It's a lot, yeah.
That's a lot.
But it's an impressive lineup. They all have a part to play. Blockchain, that's your security, right?
Right.
Keeps everything transparent. Zero knowledge proofs, those are cool because you can prove something about yourself without giving up all the details.
It's that thing where you show your ID to get into a bar,
Yeah,
but you're not handing it over. Right. You're just proving you're old enough.
exactly. It's like, here's the proof, but you don't need to see everything on my ID.
I like that.
And then they bring in NFC,
Oh, yeah.
near field communication. That's the same tech we use for, like, contactless payments.
Yeah.
The document suggesting that could be how you share your portable identity in the real world.
So instead of like fumbling for your driver's license, you just tap your phone.
Exactly. So smooth.
That's pretty slick.
And to bring it all together, they talk about DIDs, decentralized identifiers. It's like a standardized way to manage these portable identities so everything can actually work together.
So it's like building that universal language for digital identity. Everyone's on the same page, speaking the same language.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it. It's about making it robust, but also like user-friendly, right? Security's great, but if we can't use it, what's the point?
Right, exactly. And speaking of user-friendly, there's this whole other angle the document gets into, and I'll admit, it surprised me. The environmental benefits. Like, I was not expecting that.
Oh, yeah. No, it's a big part of their argument.
Can you elaborate on that a little bit? Because I found that really fascinating.
For sure. For sure. So basically, they're saying if we digitize this whole identity verification thing, we're going to need way less paper.
Okay.
Think about it.
Yeah.
All those forms, applications, documents, everything that still requires a physical copy gone.
Right. Yeah.
No more filing cabinets full of stuff. No more giant storage facilities.
They even use that example of Estonia.
Oh, yeah, right.
Which they've gone all in on this digital governance thing.
Yeah.
And they claim that they've cut paper use in government services by like 90%.
That's wild.
It's massive. And it's not just the paper itself, you know? It's the whole process. Cutting down trees, the manufacturing, the transportation, the whole thing.
It adds up.
Shifting to digital, it's huge for the environment. And it goes beyond just the paper, too, right? Because the document, it mentions energy consumption as well with, like, our current data storage practices.
Exactly. Those giant data centers, they take a ton of energy to run.
Oh, yeah.
With portable identities, especially if they're built on these decentralized systems like blockchain. You can distribute that storage, make it more sustainable.
So it's not just, like, making our lives a little easier or a little more secure. It's about, like, aligning all this amazing tech advancement with, like, being responsible about the planet, too.
Sustainability by design.
Exactly, yeah. But I think for most people, what's going to really catch their attention is how this could change our relationship with our own data.
Oh, absolutely.
Because right now, let's be honest, companies, they're making bank off our data, and we don't really have a say, nor do we see a dime of it.
They're monetizing us, basically.
Yeah.
And portable identities, they have the power to completely disrupt that.
I love that term they used, identity recycling.
It's great.
It just really drives home that point that our data, it is valuable.
It's a resource.
And right now it's being wasted. Or worse, exploited.
It is. Imagine a system where you could actually choose, consciously, to share some data and maybe even get paid for it. That's the whole idea behind identity recycling.
It's like flipping the script, right? Instead of these big companies profiting off of us without us even knowing, we could be in the driver's seat.
Exactly. You get to decide.
Okay, so let's get into the specifics a bit. Because the document, it outlines a few different business models for this whole portable identity thing. And each one has a slightly different take on how that whole data exchange would actually work. Welcome back to the show. We're picking up our deep dive into portable identities.
Back at it.
So last time we really dug into the what are these things and the why? Why should anyone even care?
That's a foundation.
Exactly. And we explored how this technology could completely change the game for things like healthcare, even voting, even just making businesses run smoother. But this document, it hints at a much broader impact. This isn't just about making a few things online a little easier.
Not even close. It's way bigger. This has the potential to transform, every industry. Healthcare, finance, government, how we vote, everything.
And we're not talking about some sci-fi future that's a million years away. The document makes it clear a lot of this is already being worked on, happening now.
Oh, yeah. People are building this stuff as we speak, which is exciting to see.
It is exciting. So enough with the hypothetical. Let's get down to brass tacks. The document spends some time on healthcare, which I think is super interesting and deserves a closer look.
Oh, for sure. Healthcare's a big one.
So how would this whole portable identity thing actually work in the world of medicine, of healthcare?
Well, think about it. Right now, all your health data, it's all over the place.
Right.
Different providers, hospitals, specialists, you name it.
Hmm.
It's a mess, fragmented. And trying to access it when you actually need it, forget it. Portable identities could change all that. It'd be like this secure, centralized hub for all your medical records. You'd be in control.
So instead of like having a file at this doctor's office and another file at that hospital,
Exactly.
I'd have it all in my like digital back pocket,
Yeah.
and I could choose what to share with each doctor.
Exactly. You got it. Imagine walking into a new doctor's office for the first time. Instead of all the forms, the waiting,
Oh, the forms, I know.
you grant them access to your portable identity, boom. They've got your entire medical history right there.
Wow.
Allergies, medications, past diagnoses, test results, the whole shebang.
That would be incredible. No more trying to remember what year I had that surgery or...
No more guessing games. It could streamline everything, diagnosis, treatment, even managing like chronic conditions, just be smoother.
Okay, that's amazing for like the everyday stuff, but
Absolutely.
could it actually like save lives?
That's the thing. It totally could. Imagine, in an emergency, first responders, they could immediately access your vital information right from your portable identity. Blood type, allergies, any conditions.
Wow.
It'd inform their decisions in those critical moments when it really matters.
It's like having that information available instantly no matter what. That's incredible.
Right. And it's not just emergencies. Think about the day-to-day. Portable identities could actually help you take more control of your own health. Be proactive.
Oh, okay. I like that. How so?
Imagine tracking all your health data, all in one place. Blood pressure, sleep, how active you are.
It's like those fitness trackers, but on a bigger scale.
Exactly. But it's not just about collecting data, it's about making that data work for you. You share it with your doctor, and they can give you personalized advice, customized to you.
That's the dream, isn't it? Actionable insights, not just a bunch of numbers.
Right. It could even revolutionize preventative care. Imagine your portable identity, powered by AI, analyzing all that data and warning you about potential risks.
Wow. Before they even become a problem.
Exactly. Early detection is key.
Yeah.
We're talking about flipping the whole healthcare system on its head. From reactive to proactive, from a million different pieces to one cohesive system.
It's kind of mind-blowing when you think about it, but I gotta ask, with anything this big, especially in healthcare, there's gotta be challenges. It's such sensitive information.
Oh, absolutely. There are definitely hurdles. Data privacy, security, that's got to be the top
For
priority.
sure.
We need these systems to be super secure to prevent any kind of unauthorized access. We're talking about people's health records. That's serious stuff.
No pressure, right?
Right. And it's not just about like hackers and data breaches. It's also about making sure people understand how their data is being used, who has access to it, the whole 9 yards.
So transparency is key.
Transparency and control.
Okay.
Users need to be in the driver's seat when it comes to their own information.
Absolutely. So it sounds like portable identities could be huge for healthcare, but those ethical considerations, that's gotta be front and center from the very beginning.
100%. You can't have one without the other.
Okay, so we've tackled healthcare. What about other areas? I know the document also mentions voting and how this technology could impact that whole system.
Voting, the cornerstone of democracy.
Huh.
It's also, if we're being honest, often feels very outdated.
It does, like we're stuck in the past or something.
I know, right? Long lines, those clunky machines.
Hmm.
There are definitely some security concerns, too. Let's be real.
Yeah, and just not knowing if your vote really counted, that whole thing.
Exactly. A lot of room for improvement. And that's where portable identities come in. They could address those issues head on.
Okay, so paint me a picture. Are we talking about a future where we can just vote online using our portable identities?
That's the idea. Imagine that. You could just verify your identity, cast your ballot, all from anywhere in the world. Securely, of course.
Okay, see, that's where I get a little, I don't know, voting, you got to be extra careful, right? How do we know a system like that would be truly secure, that no one could mess with the results?
I hear you. That's where the underlying tech comes into play. Take blockchain, for example. With blockchain, you've got a record of every single vote, and it's tamper-proof. No one can mess with it.
So it's like this, unhackable digital paper trail.
Exactly. And that's huge for transparency and building trust in the system. People need to know their vote matters, and it's being counted accurately.
I can get behind that, but what about, accessibility? Not everyone's a tech whiz. We wouldn't want to create a system where some people get left behind.
That's a really important point, and it's something that would need to be considered from the get-go. Any implementation of portable identities for voting, it has to be inclusive. Everyone needs equal access, period.
It can't just be about the technology itself. It's about making sure it works for everyone.
100%. The goal is to use tech to make democracy stronger, not to create new barriers.
Well said. Okay, so we've covered healthcare, we've talked about voting. What other sectors are you kind of keeping an eye on? Where else could this be big?
Well, the document, it actually focuses on one very specific business application.
Oh, okay.
It's called Know Your Business, or KYB. It's all about streamlining how businesses verify each other's identities.
Okay, so less about individuals, more about how companies interact with each other.
Exactly. Right now, there's so much back and forth when businesses want to work together.
Yeah.
All this due diligence, compliance checks, it's a lot.
Sounds like a headache.
Oh, it can be. And that's where KYB comes in. By using things like blockchain and digital signatures, they can establish trust and verify credentials much, much faster.
So instead of like weeks or even months of paperwork, it could be done digitally in a snap.
Exactly. Think about what that does for the whole business world.
Yeah.
Cuts down on costs, frees up time for innovation, collaborations happen faster. It's huge.
It's like greasing the wheels of the entire economy almost.
Right.
Okay, so we've got healthcare, voting, the whole business world. What else? What am I missing?
Honestly, the possibilities are kind of endless. We're just scratching the surface here.
Give me one more. What's another area you're excited about?
Okay, how about education?
Oh, interesting. Okay, I'm listening. How would portable identities change education?
Imagine a world where students have digital control over their academic records. No more waiting for transcripts to be mailed. No more worrying about losing important documents.
Oh, man, I wish I had that in college.
Right, it just streamlined everything. Students could easily share their qualifications with schools all over the world.
That's huge. The world becomes your oyster.
Exactly. And it's not just education. Think about travel, immigration. Portable identities could speed up border crossings, make getting visas easier. Even just checking into a hotel would be a breeze.
That would be amazing. I'd love to never have to worry about losing my passport again.
And it's not just about convenience. It makes everything more secure, cuts down on identity theft. The benefits are huge.
It sounds like portable identities could really touch every aspect of our lives.
They really could.
Yeah.
And the best part is, we're just getting started.
That's the exciting part, and a little bit daunting too, because with all this potential, we can't ignore the fact that there are going to be challenges.
Of course, there always are. With any big change, there are always bumps in the road.
So let's talk about those challenges. What are some of the biggest hurdles we need to overcome to make this vision of a portable, identity-powered world a reality?
Well, one of the biggest ones, and we've touched on it already, is data security and privacy.
Of course. And if we're going to trust all this sensitive info to these digital identities, we have to know it's protected, right?
Absolutely. No compromises on that.
I know.
We're talking about people's lives here.
Yeah.
Their healthcare data, their finances, even their right to vote.
It's a big deal.
It is a big deal. And it's not just about preventing hackers from getting in. It's about giving individuals control over their information, making sure they understand how it's being used.
So transparency is key.
Absolutely. It's about finding that balance. Security, privacy, and making sure the whole thing is user-friendly.
Right, because if it's so complicated that no one can figure out how to use it, what's the point?
Exactly. We need something that's super secure, respects everyone's privacy, but is also easy enough for your grandma to use.
Love that. Okay, so data security, privacy, user-friendliness, check, check, check. What else? What other obstacles are we facing here?
Another big one is standardization.
Okay, so in the context of portable identities, what does that even mean?
So right now you've got all these different companies, organizations, they're all developing their own solutions, right? Which is great. Experimentation is good.
Of course, yeah.
But the problem is they're all using different standards, protocols, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And if we're not careful, we can end up with this super fragmented system where nothing works together.
Oh, like a digital Tower of Babel.
Exactly. It would be a nightmare. Imagine your portable identity works with your bank, but not your doctor's office.
Right.
Or it works for online shopping, but not for voting. It just wouldn't work.
Right. We need everyone on the same page speaking the same language.
Yes. We need that universal language for digital identity, and that requires everyone to work together. Governments, tech companies, everyone's got to get on board.
So it's like beyond the technology itself, there's this whole other layer of like collaboration and getting everyone to agree.
Exactly. It's a big task.
It's huge. Okay, so we've got security, privacy, standardization, Any other hurdles we should be thinking about?
Yeah, another big one is the potential for exclusion.
Exclusion, what do you mean?
Well, we all know access to technology, it's not equal, right?
Sadly, no.
Right. And if we're not careful, this whole portable identity thing, it could actually make those inequalities worse.
Oh,
You
no.
could end up with this two-tiered system. The people who have access, they're empowered, they can do everything easily, and then the people who don't, they get left behind.
That would be awful and completely defeat the purpose, I think.
Exactly. So we need to make sure, from the very beginning, that portable identities are accessible to everyone, no matter your age, your income, your technical skills.
It needs to be designed for everyone, or it's not really a solution.
I completely agree.
Okay, so we've talked about a lot of challenges. Security, privacy, standardization, making sure it's inclusive. But let's not forget why we're even having this conversation.
Exactly. It's easy to get bogged down in the challenges, but the potential here, it's huge.
So remind us, why should we as individuals be excited about this?
Because portable identities could give you back control over your digital life.
Okay, I like that.
You get to decide what information you share, who you share it with, the whole deal.
No more feeling like your data is just floating around in the ether.
Exactly. It's about taking back ownership.
I love that.
And it's not just about control, it's about making your life easier.
Right.
Think about all the things we talked about, opening a bank account, going to the doctor, even voting. Portable identities could make all that simpler, more efficient, more secure.
And it's not just good for individuals, right?
Mm.
Businesses benefit, governments benefit.
Exactly. For businesses, it means lower costs, faster processes, new opportunities. And for governments, it could mean better security, less fraud, and building more trust with citizens.
Plus, let's not forget the whole environmental aspect we talked about. Less paper, less energy consumption. It's a win-win all around.
It's like almost too good to be true, right?
It does sound a little too good to be true, but in theory, it's possible.
Exactly. And that's what's so exciting. It's a huge undertaking, but the potential rewards are huge.
It really is a game changer, but there's one, I think, fundamental question we haven't really touched on yet.
And what's that?
What does all this mean for the future of identity itself? Like, at its core, that's what this conversation is really about. How do we define ourselves in a digital world?
Whoa, now you're getting deep.
Right. It's a big one. And that is exactly what we're going to be diving into in the final part of our exploration of portable identities. We'll be talking about this whole idea of self-sovereign identity, what it means to be human in a world where the lines between our digital and physical selves are becoming more and more blurred. You won't want to miss it. And we're back. For this last part of our deep dive on portable identities, we're going a little, I don't know, deeper, I guess.
It's
Right. Less about nuts and bolts, more about the big picture.
an important distinction because this technology, it's not just some upgrade. It's making us really think about what identity even means in this digital world.
Exactly. And in the first two parts we covered, like healthcare, voting, even how businesses would work. But this document, it hints at something way bigger, this whole self-sovereign identity thing.
Yeah, they touch on that a bit.
It sounds kind of philosophical, but in a good way.
It is a big idea. It's like, imagine you're in control of your digital self. Not Facebook, not Google, not the government, you. You decide who gets what information, when. Total control.
So it's like freedom of choice, but online. Because right now it feels like we give up so much data just to, like, exist online.
That's the current system.
Yeah.
And it's definitely got its problems.
Yeah.
Self-sovereign identity, it's trying to flip that power dynamic, put users back in the driver's seat. You're not just along for the ride anymore, you're an active participant.
I can see the appeal, especially with all the data breaches and everything. But this idea, like owning your identity in a digital world, it's pretty deep stuff.
It is. It challenges us to think differently. Think about it.
Mhm.
In the real world, we act different depending on who we're with, right?
Right, of course.
You share some things with your family, other things with coworkers. Self-sovereign identity wants to do that online.
Oh. So it's like choosing what to reveal and when, just like we do in person.
Exactly. Your doctor doesn't need to see your browsing history. Your bank doesn't need your whole medical record. It's about having those boundaries.
It's weird. It's like so futuristic, but also so obvious. Like we already get it, right?
Exactly. It's just taking it to that next level.
To the digital world.
And it makes us think about some big questions like, what does it even mean to be human when our lives are so intertwined with technology?
Right. It's like our online selves, our profiles, all that data, it all adds up and becomes part of who we are, right?
It does. It's like this digital reputation that follows us everywhere.
It is, which is kind of scary if you think about it.
It is. And it brings up this question of like authenticity. Because online, you can curate everything, right? You can edit. You can even like completely fabricate a persona.
It's true.
So what's real? What's a true identity online? It gets blurry.
It really does. It's like social media, but like on a whole other level.
Right. Because with portable identities, the stakes are higher. This isn't just about how many likes you get. It's about access to services, your ability to participate in society, everything.
Okay, now I'm really thinking. This is like a lot of responsibility if our digital selves are becoming that important. How do we do this right? How do you navigate this in a responsible way?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Mm.
And honestly, there's no easy answers. But I think it starts with awareness. We need to understand how these technologies work, the good and the bad, and we need to talk about it openly, honestly, and demand that this is done ethically from the ground up.
So it's not just on the tech people, it's on all of us.
Exactly. We need to be informed, ask questions, and hold these companies and governments accountable.
Make sure this technology empowers us, doesn't control us.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay, so this deep dive, it's really opened my eyes. It's way bigger than just a new piece of tech, isn't it?
Right. It touches everything.
So to everyone listening, if we're going to navigate this future of identity, we got to be engaged. We can't just let it happen to us. We have to understand it, be critical of it, and help shape it. That's the takeaway here, right?
100%. This is just the beginning of the conversation, and we all need to be a part of it.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into portable identities. We hope you'll keep exploring these ideas with us.